Good morning from Phoenix. So one of the perks of the job is standby travel. And I know some folks out there don't like to fly standby, but we do it all the time. So spend the day with me as we try to fly from Phoenix to Rome. We arrived at the airport at 8 a.m. for a 9:15 flight. And yes, we did check bags. The flight was pretty full, but there were still a few seats open on the 737 MAX 8. I'm sitting on the aisle so I can talk to a buddy of mine, Charlie, across the way. And Brooke likes the window seat. However, the person sitting in between us doesn't look very social. And we are off, officially on vacation mode. The flight to LA is just over an hour. Here we are at the Southwest Terminal at LAX. Eventually, we need to make it over to the International Terminal. Oh, and here's a travel tip, which we think is a good idea. We always put air tags in our luggage, and we'll show you why later. All right, we made the first flight to LAX. We've got about 4 hours of ground time before our next flight that we're gonna try and make. So we're gonna head over to the USO and hang out for a bit. The USO at LAX is great. It's fully renovated and large, and they also give you some free snacks and food if needed. Once again, thanks to all the volunteers at the USO. We appreciate your help. Eventually, it was time to make our way over to the Tom Bradley International Terminal and see if we can get on our next flight. I'm able to check the flight status ahead of time, and on this flight, there were about 45 seats open. And as we checked in and checked our bags, we were immediately given boarding passes and seats. We are flying on the Italian national airline ITA, and I'm pretty excited because this is my first time on an A350. They really hooked us up and gave us great seats right in front of the bulkhead, and no one was sitting in between us. Shortly after takeoff, we have our first meal service, which is pretty much dinner. I went with the beef and potatoes, some green bean salad, a dinner roll, and finished it up with some tiramisu. Overall, for airplane food, it was pretty good. Then it was time to watch a few shows and try to get some sleep. About 8 hours later, we had our next meal service, which was breakfast. This included a cold ham and cheese sandwich, which honestly I didn't eat, a couple granola bars, and then a warm croissant, which was actually pretty good. After 11 hours and 31 minutes, we were finally walking off the airplane. Now it's time to head down and get our luggage, and this is where that air tag I was talking about earlier is going to help us out. All right, 12 hours later, and we made it to Rome. There's an Italian flag.
And what happened?
And someone took Brooke's bag.
Yeah, and that's why you get an air tag.
That's not her bag, but it looks like it. So luckily, we called this lady, and she has Brooke's bag and is turning around in the Uber and coming back to us, I hope. Eventually, we did swap bags and made it into the city with our own luggage to start our next adventure. Stay tuned for more vacation mode. As always, happy travels.